Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining very early. Today, I am going to discuss. First thing first, is my voice audible and the screen visible? Yes, fine. Right then. So today, I am going to discuss the last two components that is left. That is called information, citizens charter, and transparency. Right. I have said already that how this is related. When I was discussing, remember these things or revise these things. Try to remember. I said that for good governance or anything, to inculcate good governance or to inculcate some values into the system, the best way is to increase the accountability. Now, how you can increase accountability? I have discussed accountability in our first chapter itself when I was discussing chapter 1, integrity and accountability. If you do remember, right? This is a summary that we have discussed. It enhances the credibility of the public institution, trust in public, right? We all discussed accountability. I also discussed about integrity, right? Now, as a component of this accountability, as a component of its accountability, I said that you can have accountability by having transparency. And how transparency can be achieved in any company? You can achieve by through Rti Act is there as per the syllabus, and you have one more thing called citizens charter. Make available the charter to all the people, and then people will come to know what is the function of that organization, and people will be participating in it, right? Then only accountability will enhance as transparency is going to. This is again going to lead to people's participation. As a result, everything is going to add to the so-called governance, and governance is going to be very good governance or ethical governance. Right now, so this is transparency. We'll see what is definition of transparency. We'll study about Rti Act, and the best way to study Rti Act is type right to information the Hindu in the Google. You'll get the latest updates about right to information. Try to read 3 or 4 articles in the Google, right? Then that is the best way to prepare this RTI. And if you do remember, in budget 2021, in budget 2021-22, budget 2021 and 22, Nirmala Sitaraman announced that we will have taxpayers citizens charter, and SEBI announced that we will have share market charter, right? So charter, citizens charter is again in news. Probably we might expect a question because in budget she has spoken about that one. So this year there might be one probable question on citizens charter, right? So let us go and discuss about that. So these are the two things, how they are related. Accountability, I said I discussed. Remember that, or else you just go through that. Now what I am going to discuss is about transparency. So these two are interrelated in this way. Transparency, right? This is the topic. So today I am starting here. Second ARC says that transparency is sine qua non of good governance. RTA is the master key of good governance. Second ARC says this because transparency is related to good governance, and we have seen, you can draw that diagram. Good governance, directly proportional to accountability, directly proportional to transparency, directly proportional to working of RTA. So you can write it and you can keep it in the box, right? RTA is the master key or good governance. So let us see what is this transparency. You can use the same quotation of second ARC and you can say that second ARC has quoted this. I have already shared this document, okay? Definition. Transparency means being open or being means openness in functioning and decision making. Be open to how the system is functioning, or make open how your system is functioning, right? And how you arise at the decisions. What are the decisions that you are made? How the decisions are made? So make everything flexible, make everything open to the public. Then that is called transparency. Openness in functioning or decision making is called transparency. Remember this definition. They have given directly in the syllabus, so you have to by heart. This is one common theme whenever we are preparing for mains. What is the common thing? The common thing is whatever the topics that are in the mains syllabus for GS 1, 2, 3, 4, essay and ethics, right? Essay, leave it. The rest of the papers, GS 1, 2, 4, you have to know the definitions, short definitions of each and every topic that they have given, right? So by heart them. Transparency means openness in functioning and decision making, right? The rest of the things you can write anything with your brain. Next. Or it is the availability of information to the general public and giving clarity about the functions of government institutions and how the government institutions are functioning, right? Basic English definition you can write. Now, the next question is how transparency is going to be different from information sharing. Is transparency is called information sharing, or is there any difference between transparency and information sharing? Information sharing only provides relevant information or data. Information sharing is you will be providing whatever the information is asked, whereas transparency is a broader concept. So you can say information sharing is one subset of transparency, right? It is a broader concept, and in this procedures, not only the information about that particular thing is known, but you will be sharing the procedure, you will be sharing the decisions making open to all. Next, mere sharing of information is not transparency, right? Because government shares bulk document which is difficult to comprehend to the people, right? They will give economic survey, 2 volumes, volume 1, volume 2, each volume contains 8 chapters, right? Who will read that? How the economy is functioning, right? You have to make all the systems open to the general public. Then general public will be knowing, okay, these are the things, this is how economy is performing. You have to tell it in a very simple way, how much employment is created, what are the poverty levels in the country, what are the nutritional levels in the country, right? You have to give that. So the basic difference between information sharing and transparency is information sharing, you will be giving those informations which is asked by the public or only that relevant information or data. But transparency is making all the documents open to the public. Now, how that is related to good governance? First thing, we all know that transparency increases accountability. Because of this, there will be some accountability in utilization of public funds. Right? Whenever you are utilizing public funds, yesterday we discussed misutilization of public funds is going to decrease. Taxpayers should know what is happening, how government is utilizing their funds. Then only there will be civic consciousness among the taxpayers, and then taxpayers will come to pay the tax. Otherwise, everyone becomes Aishwarya Rai and Amitabh Bachchan. Okay, we will go and we will keep it in offshores, right? It allows decision making in a more objective and democratic manner. See, all these are also the advantages of accountability. You can write all together. So don't restrict your brain here itself. Think in a 360-degree angle, right? It allows decision making in a more objective and democratic manner. Again, whenever you are writing about good governance, also you can use all these things. It empowers the poor. How it is empowering? Empowers the poor to demand and get information about what are the government schemes which are aimed for him, how much poor is dependent on government well-being. Next, they are saying rise the petrol price, not make difference to the persons who drive a car. It makes difference for a person who drive a bike. So it is empowering the public. So decisions has to be made how the tax is being increased, why the tax is being increased. It has to be known to the public. It ensures accountability, I discussed already. It promotes trust between the civil servants and citizens. Obviously, whenever you are being very accountable, whenever you are being responsible, or obviously it is going to develop trust, right? It promotes citizen-centric administration. Yes, people will be participating of democracy, participating in the functioning of the governance, right? Next one, how transparency and during question hour exposes the scam. Now, what are the available tools that you have to increase the transparency? The available tools are, the first tool is we discussed already, Parliament of India, where legislature is, executive is responsible to legislature, right? And then you have all C's, CBI, CVC, courts, right? And CAG, right? So all C's are there. And then you have press, all forms of press, right? So by using all this, you can have, in the Parliament, you have many tools where the executive will be responding, through which the executive will be responding to the legislature. Scams involved, such as Chhattisgarh PDS system, they have come to know how it is there. And then in GST, they have, in order to improve accountability or transparency or information sharing, they generated e-way bills, right? What is e-way bills? Remember this GST concept. Whenever you are transporting some goods in the intrastate trade or in the interstate trade, and the goods value is more than 50,000 rupees, you have to go to GST network, you have to register, and then you have to generate e-way bill, right? So it is going to increase the transparency. And then during COVID, COVID portal ensures transparency. Yes, COVID portal is going to ensure transparency. The only disadvantages of this portal is it didn't work when it is required, right? That is the only drawback. Otherwise, it is a good thing. Now, what are the issues with transparency in India? Again, the same thing. What are the, why we discussed this? Why government institutions are not functioning, right? Red tapeism in bureaucracy undermines transparency. Official Secrets Act of 1923, very important. Official Secrets Act of 1923, which is a big hurdle in transparency, right? It says that all the information or those information which is classified as secret should not be revealed under Rti Act. Hence, it is up to the discretion of the public officer to say whether that is an secret or not. Hence, Rti is subverted because of this Official Secrets Act. Remember that Act, 1923. Monitoring and evaluation of the implementation of schemes are very poor condition. You are not using technology in monitoring them. Hence there is no responsibility, lack of political will. Everything, for everything you can write that. Citizens' participation in governance is limited. This act is performed by media and civil society. However, media again is biased today. Rti activists and whistleblowers in India are vulnerable. They are facing difficult situations such as life threats, right? That is also important. Political parties do not come under Rti Act of 2005. Hence, lack of transparency in political funding. This is important. Government generating too much of information. Yes, if you, there is an adage which says that, you know, if you are not able to convince the people, confuse them. How you can confuse them? Give big data, give big information, give 2 volumes of economic survey, give 4 volumes of economic survey, then say that everything is in economic survey. If you have any doubt, go and see that economic survey, right? People will get frustrated and they will not even read the book. Government generating too much of information, so people will not have that eagerness to go and read to that data. So you can write these things, but remember those star marks: Official Secrets Act 1923, Rti activism, whistleblowers are not given proper protection, and then political parties are not under Rti Act of 2005. So you can write these 3 things as main components, and the rest of the things you can write your own points, right? Don't rely on one book. That is the reason why I said just type Rti Act in the Hindu, read some 3 to 4 articles, you will generate some perspective, and then write a beautiful answer based on that perspective, right? Different dimensions of transparency: openness in public dealing, deal with the public in a very open policy. Next, Rti related things, Rti related expenditures, all related to RTIs. Again, how transparency can be increased? By making the watchdogs more vigilant, and implementing these things. Let's look at Rti Act 2005. Rti is now a part of Article 19(1)(a), right to freedom of speech, right? So right to freedom of speech and expression. You should be knowing what is being which information is generated, and people should be well aware, because that is their fundamental right. Hence it is now a part of. So it is not explicitly mentioned, but it is implicitly mentioned in Article 19(1) of the Indian Constitution. Any citizen may request information from public authority. We are discussing about Rti Act, guys. Any citizen may request information from public authority. However, what constitutes public authority is not clearly defined. What constitutes public authority is not clearly defined. As a result, there is huge subjectivity in deciding what constitutes public authority. Whether a private company in partnership with government, whether NGO is funded from government, political parties. So it is subject to discretion, right? Hence, this is one loophole in the Rti again. Next, it seeks to, what is the another provision? You have to reply. Once you have filed an Rti, the official authority has to reply within 30 days, right? If unsatisfied, you can file an appeal for 90 days, within 90 days, right? If you are unsatisfied with the data that they have given, right, you can raise it to the higher authorities. Next one is exceptions under Rti Act. Very, very important. You can write these are the limitations of Rti Act. One is section 8. No information that is related to national security, national economic interests, or relation with foreign states will be revealed. Even though if you apply under Rti, it is not being revealed. One second. Right. So under section 8, matters relating to national security, national economic interests, and foreign policy relations cannot be officially announced. As a result, this is one thing which is again giving subjectivity to the authority, saying that it is up to you to divert the information or not, right? For example, Central Intelligence and Security Agencies like Information Bureau, right? RAW, CBI, they don't give the information. And all the agencies which is specified by state governments, it is until, again, look at this. The second one is the discretion up to the state governments to add that a particular agency do not have the authority or will not come under Rti. So it is under the state government's discretion. Again, this is one loophole, right? Next one is the exemptions are not absolute. They have obligation to provide information pertaining to allegations of human rights violations. Yes. However, these exemptions which are provided, say for example, under the national security, don't give the information. But if it is concerning about human rights violations, say for example, Armed Forces Special Protection Act has opened fire on 10 or 6 coal workers in Nagaland, right? If this is the thing, if someone is asking why they opened, reveal the information, then you cannot say that it is national security. Hence, if it is human rights violations, then it is required. But again, it requires some procedures to be followed. That is the drawback. Cabinet meeting that can affect foreign relations. So cabinet meeting itself is a secret meeting, right? That is why MPs will take oath whenever they are becoming ministers, right? So cabinet meeting, they will not divulge all the information. Section 8, subclause 2, when there is a clash between Official Secrets Act and Rta, right? Information should be revealed based on public interest, right? Whether it is going to, there is this clause, section 8.2 clearly says that if Rti is directly contradicting with Official Secrets Act, then what is the thing which is going to say? The officials can present the information, or they can deny to present the information based on public interest. Now, what is this public interest, or who is going to defend this public interest? It is the authorities who are going to define what constitutes public interest. Section 4 records are computerized within reasonable time frame. Again, this is one provision of RTI. If information is denied, the information officer has to beautify in terms of exemption mentioned, has to present. Information has to present, right? That is justify, present. In information is denied, the information officer has to justify in terms of exemptions. Now again, this is a provision. You are exempting under section 8(1)(a). Why it is denied, right? So look at this. They will, if they ask Rti Act, right? What I said, go and read some Hindu articles in the Google, and then write these things. What are the provisions? Today RTI is under right to fundamental right, under Article 19(1)(a). Now, any citizen may ask the information for authority. However, the public authority is subjective. Here there are provisions, and here also there are some limitations on the provisions, right? So have a clarity. Seek reply within 30 days. If you are not satisfied with the reply within 30 days, then go to the higher authorities where they should give you reply within 90 days. Now, what are the exemptions? Is one exemption is section 8, right, which says that under national security you are denied to have that information. However, again the officer, public information officer, should justify why that is denied or why that is not given. Next, it gives the authorities to the state governments to decide that which agencies will be having this priority not to share the information. Again, you are giving exemptions to the state. Next one is the exemptions are not absolute. However, the exemptions are not absolute. There are certain procedures where you can get the information if the information is related to human rights violations. You cannot ask the data, or you cannot ask minutes of meeting which the cabinet meeting has decided. Then section 8(2) says that whenever there is subclause, or whenever there is some clash between right to information and Official Secrets Act, then this agent or the public information officer can either divulge the information, or whether he can deny to share the information based on the public interest. And again, public interest is a subjective matter. Next, section 4 says you have to computerize within reasonable time frame, and the information is denied, it has to be justified. Now, what is the need for RTI? Information is the oxygen. Like data is the new oil, information is the oxygen. Data as a public good of the modern age. Data is new oil, hence information is the oxygen. Hence information has to be revealed. Secrecy should be a norm. Transparency should be an exception. Is a state. Is any state in any part of the world. India is included. Secrecy is in a norm, and transparency is an exemption. But Rti Act has turned it upside down and said that transparency should be the norm. Secrecy should be the exception. Earlier, all the states used to follow the other model. That is, they always used to say that we will reveal only that information whenever it is required. That is state policy. But with RTI, it has changed. Transparency should be the norm of the day, whereas secrecy should be, you can keep something secret only in exceptional cases. That is the point. There is no need to justify why you are needing that information under RTI. So again, I'll discuss this from previous year questions. There is some information, right? RTI can be misused. Again, here there is no need to justify why you are asking that information. Information empowers the poor. It strengthens the foundational values of democracy. It improves decision making. It improves people's participation. It combats corruption and inefficiency. So these are again general points that you can write with your understanding. But write these type of things Transparency should be the norm. Secrecy should be the exception, right? However, there is no need to justify why you are getting the information. The rest of the things, again, for any of the topics like good governance or anything, you can use these type of things, right? Common statements. What are the some of the achievements of RTA in the last 15 years? What I say is, rather than reading this in the book, just type Google in Google, go type the Hindu, write Information Act, the Hindu. You'll get some 4 or 5 full articles, read 4 or 5 articles, they will give good information rather than this. So general benefit of transparency, more than 50 lakh people of RTA have filed the RTA every year. Every year 50 lakh people or more than that is going to file. 90% of public offices have provided the information about RTA implementation, right? Next one. Answer keys of top answers or toppers such as IIT, JEE, civil services. If you are asking them, they will provide it in the website, right? Assets of public officials are under RTA. Scams such as Commonwealth 2G were revealed by this. Even Sri Lanka has adopted it. It helps in resolving corruption, reducing corruption, transparency, all the same things. Some subsets, you write some success stories such as in Bihar case, how it has revealed how the amount is spent on Manariga, right? Next, utilization of taxpayers' money is being scrutinized through RTA. So what I say is, these are all common things. So in order to get best data, go and do this exercise. Don't take much time. Go for half an hour or 45 minutes. Get some good, read some 4 or 5 articles. Then you will have wider information than this book, right? Now, what are the problems? Again, the challenges in RTA, I have said earlier. You can write the same thing. Requests, many requests are pending for disposal. Number of public authorities that are registered, right? That are registered with Information Commission, the number not increased of the rate as they expected. What do you mean by this? The number of public authorities which are covered, because public authority is a subjective matter. Hence, the number of people who are covered under this public authority, they are not increasing with the expected level. When this RTA was formed, people thought that slowly government will expand the number of organizations under this public authority, but they didn't expand. Next, poor record keeping practice, lack of adequate infrastructure and staff for running information commissions. You can write this, right? We have lack of personnel. Dilution of supplementary laws such as Whistleblowers Protection Act. Once there is no whistleblower, right, then automatically people will, if there is no protection, then people will not come forward. Next, there is lack of awareness. Only 15% of the respondents were aware of Rti Act, right? Only 15%. You can give this information. And it is disheartening that it is very, very low in the backward classes. Next, in most of the cases, it is restricting to public FAQs on the website, right? We don't see at FAQs. Leave about the so-called Rti Act. So you can write all these death of Rti activities, 85% of the who signed, right? No signature of PIOs in offices, political parties doesn't come under section 2H. Most of the NGOs, private organizations are out of it. Write all the exemptions that is provided here. 2 lakh cases pending with the Information Commissioner. Next, third party informations are commonly used to deny the information. Next is people will pass the buck 30 days to the officer and then they will go to 30 days for the next officer. So they deny the information and they create some problems, right? So the better thing is read that one only. No need to go again the same thing. Other side is, on the other side, false cases are filed and this is going to harass the officers, right? Load of work is more. Blackmailing of public offices. Next, in such circumstance, we have seen some previous year case studies saying that RTI Act has certain drawbacks, though it is providing information, but still people are using it to blackmail the honest officers. Then how to resolve that ethical dilemma? This is one ethical dilemma, right? Whether to divulge the information. If I divulge the information, then it is going to create some trouble, right? In that circumstances, what should you do? Civil servants should find out about the relevant laws, rules, and regulations and follow them in letter and spirit. He should also consider his or her conscience. He thinks about greater good of the society, right? Why these points are written? By keeping in mind that case study, okay? Previous year case study, they have written this. Civil servants go inside with transparency. So you take always the stand for transparency and privacy until and unless there is a very strong reason that exists for maintaining confidentiality. You go for privacy only you have some extreme situations, otherwise go for transparency. So you have to follow transparency in most of the cases. 99% go with this stand. You can go for privacy stand only with 1%, that too for extreme situations such as national interest and whatever the exemptions that are given on Official Secrets Act, that too on the public interest. Otherwise, you go with the basic thing. Official Secrets Act. It is largely dealing with sedition and espionage. It states that one cannot approach or impact state government, right? You cannot approach. It states that one cannot approach or impact government site or area. What does that mean? You cannot go into the one area and you cannot divulge some information which is making the government to fall into defense, right? Then that comes under sedition. So sedition information cannot be revealed under Official Secrets Act. You cannot become Edward Snowden in India because they are going to arrest you under Official Secrets Act. No. What are the issues? Obviously, the issues will be culture of non-transparency clashes with RTI. So people are misusing it. Second ARC says that what is the way? Repeal Official Secrets Act of 1923. Very important. Second ARC suggestion. Introduce dedicated national security bill to safeguard national security interests. So far, no one has defined what is national security in clear terms. In this bill, you make it an act, make a provision what constitutes to national security, what exactly should be kept away from the public. If you are doing that, then definitely people will be aware of it and then there will be a system. So you write at least this. Second ARC said that Official Secrets Act has to be removed and National Security Bill has to be introduced so that national security interests will be given importance. Way ahead is, what is the best way to increase transparency? Irrespective of the act, whether Rti Act is present or not, what government officers should do is, they should sumo to disclose the information. Don't wait for the act to come and say that, or don't wait for the person to come and file an RTA. You only go to the public and release the information. Why to go for secrecy? Because transparency should be the norm. So follow that. Next one is involve civil society, involve citizens group in administration. Right? Take governance to the grassroots level democracy. Grassroots level, and then make people to be part of that, and then people will be going and asking the information. So information commissioner position should be given to persons of eminence in public life, who has some ethics, who has shown some remarkable ethical standards in his personal and professional life. Give that thing to ICs. Again, this is a subjective thing. How can you decide that person, right? Make meeting open in public, just like Gram Sabha, right? Attitudinal training, empower the SICs and CICs, comprehensive the information management system, strengthen Whistleblowers Protection Act, right? And train the students right from the childhood about RTI and make them aware of how RTI is functioning. So